Hello ACF and guests viewing, my name is Chef Ashten Garrett. Welcome to the ACF culinary presentation, Around the World in 80 Plates, an introduction into the wonderful flavors of Italian and Mediterranean cuisine. Today I will be explaining and demonstrating 3 distinctive and classical dishes that are some of my favorite from Italian cuisine. I'm very excited and honored to share my experiences that I've accumulated over the past few years of Italian cuisine. Join me as we celebrate and unravel the cultural riches of Italian cuisine. Let's cook. To tell you a little bit about myself, I began my culinary journey when I was 3 years old when my parents bought me a fully equipped toy kitchen and my own set of pots and utensils. I played with them for hours. My parents then bought me a fully equipped easy bake oven where I baked all the desserts in one day. My parents then enrolled me in high school summer classes and my own high school chef's prep hospitality management course where I learned basic culinary skills and gained knowledge about the culinary arts. My first professional job was a dishwasher and deep cleaner working at a catering facility and fine dining establishment. After graduating high school, I attended Johnson & Wales University in North Miami, Florida, where I graduated summa cum laude with an associate's degree in culinary arts and a bachelor's degree in hospitality management. I then went on a study abroad program to Florence and Rome, Italy, where I cemented my passion and love for Italian cuisine. I was then selected to return to Florence, Italy, and participate in the James Beard Tutto Toscano program. My most notable accomplishment was being selected for Guy's Grocery Games on Food Network, where I competed against 3 other chefs, and I won. I currently am employed at the Marriott International in Cleveland, Ohio, where I love to cook and help others cook as well. Let's cook. Now, when we talk about Italian and Mediterranean cuisine, it's possibly one of the most important cuisines in the entire world. Italy is one of 23 countries surrounding the Mediterranean Sea. Italy means land of cattle or land of calf. Italy is known for 4 prominent factors: fashion, automobiles or cars, art and history, and most importantly, it's food. Italy has this feeling that even if you aren't in Italy, you feel like you're a chef when you're cooking Italian food. That's just the love and passion that they have when they exhibit the culinary culture. Now, what we're going to be doing today is a classical antipasto dish, meaning appetizer. It's called a panzanella, which is a bread salad. So the first things I'm going to work with are stale bread, cherry tomatoes or ripe tomatoes, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, basil, fresh red onion, cucumber, salt and pepper, and extra virgin olive oil. So the history behind this great dish, actually it's panzanella. Some coin it as pan and zanella, pan meaning bread in Italy and zanella meaning soup bowl. So we're going to start off with our stale bread. It's very important that we use stale bread because in the medieval times, the farmers would actually use the stale bread. It's a peasant dish. So we're utilizing a peasant dish. So we need to soak it in ice cold water to revive the structure within the bread. The bread is also saltless. It has no salt. The reason it has no salt is also a historical transition because during that time, Pisa and Tuscany were in a rivalry over the trade salt embargoes. So as a revenge plot, kind of, so to speak, the bakers in Tuscany decided to not include their salt within the bread. So now that we've revived our bread, we're going to squeeze out the moisture. Okay, we're going to add that into our bowl. It's very important that we do this because it's providing structure and taste for our bread. This is a Tuscan Italian bread, and it's been stale for probably about 3 to 4 days now. So we're going to continue a little bit more. Squeeze out the excess moisture and add it into our bowl. Now we add our tomatoes. Okay, these are just been diced. Fresh red onion. Now, I mentioned antipasto. Antipasto means appetizer. I'm adding cucumber now. Antipasto means appetizer. On the Italian classical menu, they have 4 distinct categories. So the first is what we call amuse bouche, which is our starter. Then going into an antipasto, which is the appetizer. Primi, which is usually a pasta dish. That's the first component of the larger meals. And then the final meal is the secondi, which is our large appetizer. Our large entree. So now that we have all our vegetables and bread mixed in, we're going to give it a nice toss. We're going to add in apple cider vinegar for a little bit of acidity, and that bread's going to soak it up very nice. Now in Tuscany, the Tuscan region of Italy actually is not known for pasta. It's not known for pasta at all. Reason being is that in the cold winters, they grew potatoes. So you'll find gnocchi and bread dishes from Tuscany. Rather, in southern Italian regions, you find pasta because that's what they were growing. So now that we have all the ingredients incorporated, we're gonna add in our fresh herbs. So our fresh basil, I'm gonna just tear it leaf by leaf. Don't need to cut it. Again, this is a peasant dish, so they really not fancy in terms of presentation. It wasn't until the most recent years that the presentation evolved into restaurant quality. Again, this is from the Tuscan region, where bread is the mainstay of their cuisine, not necessarily pasta, due to the fact of the climate and the terroir in the Tuscan region. So now that we have all that, we're gonna add in a pinch of sea salt, okay, and a pinch of black pepper. This is also going to help the flavor. And we'll finish with extra virgin olive oil. Now again, we'll mix and we'll be ready to plate. This is a summer dish utilizing summer vegetables, the red in the tomato, the red onion, the freshness of the cucumber. Italians really focus on the quality of ingredients. They're very simplistic in terms of their culinary cuisine. So we have that. We're going to transfer onto our bowl. And we'll finish with a little bit more of extra virgin olive oil. And that is a classical panzanella salad. Again, it's a rustic peasant dish, not necessarily meant to be pretty. You can dress it up, the way you want, but really just focus on the quality of ingredients, the simplicity, the execution, and bringing all those tight flavors, the acidity from the apple cider vinegar, the staleness of the bread, adding the saltiness from the sea salt, letting the freshness of the vegetables come together. And that is a classical panzanella that really exhibits the culinary culture and cuisine of Italian cooking. Now that we've just completed the antipasto with the panzanella, we're going to work on our primi dish, which is the pasta maltagliati. So first things first, we're going to create our pasta. So I have equal amounts, 100 grams of semolina flour. Okay, we're going to just pour that right onto our board. And then I have 00 flour, which is just a whole wheat flour, also 100 grains. I'm going to pour that also onto our board. So now durum wheat is the best flour to use because of its high gluten protein and because of its starch content. But semolina is also a great flour to incorporate. So now we just incorporate both flours right onto the middle of our board. You see I'm using a fork. You can use your hands if you like. The reason I'm using double flour is because I want the pasta, the texture of the pasta to kind of be like more silky. Okay, so now we're gonna just construct a volcano mound right in the middle of our board. Okay, and then we're gonna create a small crater. We've kind of seen it, just a small crater. This pasta is meant to be a fun, it's a family thing, and just kind of have fun with it, be messy. It's very fun. So we're gonna crack our egg right into the crater. Okay, beautiful. Another egg, 2 eggs for 200 grams pasta. Okay, it's okay if it runs out. Now we're just gonna beat our egg right in the middle. All right, now we add a pinch of salt to help break down the protein within the egg. Okay, now we got our egg. Let's start getting our dough. Staying with the egg. Okay, now you see it's turning into like almost a gum consistency. That's what you're looking for. That's the egg mixing with the flour. Now it's time to get messy. All right, so we just move it around and just keeping it centralized in the middle of your board. Pasta is one of the most versatile dishes in the world, has over 200 cuts. There is a lot of controversy about where it originated. Some say Asia, some say, in Italy. The fairy tale or fable of Marco Polo, when he came from his travels back to Italy saying it began in Asia, is often misconstrued. So, really just different regions of the world have different areas of pasta. Okay, now you see it kind of breaking down a little bit. We're gonna add in a little bit of cold water. Make that well again. Cold water. This is gonna be a binder for the pasta. So let's incorporate, keep moving. If you get pasta or dough stuck to your hands, take some of your bench flour, rub it on your hands, just shake it right off. Don't try to wash your hands because it will just stick right onto your hands. Just work the flour, keep working it. Keep working it until it gets to a consistency that you like. Now, as I mentioned with the panzanella dish, that was bread-based, usually in the Tuscan region because of the climate and terroir. Now, pasta more commonly you'll find it in southern Italian states. So, because of the warmer climate. And they were able to grow vegetables that complemented pasta very well. So again, sticks on your hand, that's perfectly fine. We'll shake it right off. Flour is gonna be your best friend when making pasta, because everything's just gonna stick. All right, so now we got our nice mound. It's still a little wet, that's perfect. Separate, get all that flour, you want all that flour, come back, keep moving. Keep the pasta, keep moving, okay? A little bit more water, flour. Just keep moving the pasta till it develops. Now the thing about fresh pasta, when you cook it, you never, ever, ever cook it al dente within the water. You cook it till about 80%, 90% done, and then you finish it off in whatever sauce you're using, or whatever the pasta is going to be incorporated in, whether it's a pesto, a ragu, a classic tomato sauce. Never, ever cook it al dente, fresh pasta, in the pot. You always want to make sure that you cook it just when it hits, finish cooking just when it hits the sauce. Okay, we're going to get all that flour, scoop it up, okay? Bench our board, and now we're just going to knead. So kneading is a two-step process. So you're going to go forward and pull back. So I'll show you. So we start up, pull back, come back. We're just incorporating all the dough, getting all the mixture. Now, you see, pasta is very simple. Takes 4 ingredients: flour, egg, salt, a little bit of water, and you've got homemade pasta, fresh and ready to go. Now, if you don't have a pasta maker, this is a small pasta maker. They come large, a lot larger than this in industrial kitchens. This is just a home pasta maker. You can use this. You can use a rolling pin to just roll out your pasta, and then have a pizza slicer or a knife and just cut the pasta. Okay, getting all that, we want to make sure all that dough is incorporated within. And we're gonna shape it up into our ball. Keep kneading. Now with any glutinous mixture, the more you knead, the stiffer it becomes. So you wanna make sure that, you know, when you feel your pasta kind of turn into a rock, you know, that's, you've gone a little too far. So right when it's just soft, you know, what you're really trying to do is just relax the gluten and incorporate the egg, okay? Seems good. Still a little wet. Gonna add a bit more flour. Again, flour is gonna be your best friend when making pasta, so just keep on using. Okay, we'll need some more. Need some more. I want to shape it up. Now I said flour is pasta's best friend, all right? Air is pasta's worst friend. Because of gluten, it will begin to stiffen the proteins and make it very difficult to work with. So we'll take our tray, a little bit of water on there, it's okay. Flour. And right on, now we'll wrap this. Now you can hold this, let it rest for 30 minutes before you do anything with it. Let that the high gluten and the egg come together and really just create, you know, a great product. That's what you're gonna want to use. Now that we have our pasta, we're gonna transition into our pasta maker and make our maltagliati cut. Now that we have created our pasta, it's time to roll it out using our pasta maker, or if you don't have a pasta maker, you can very much use a rolling pin. So I have two different types of pasta made from the same ingredients, except this just has spinach chlorophyll. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm going to flour my surface. Again, flour is gonna be very beneficial. I'm also gonna flour the machine just so the gluten from the pasta doesn't stick. Okay, I'm gonna take my pasta that I've created, just thin it out just a little bit, enough. You want the same size of the pasta maker. So using my right hand, just gonna feed it through. Okay, and switch hands and pull it through. Okay, so after we do our first roll, more flour the machine a little bit. We're gonna fold in and feed it through one more time. Okay, and we'll switch hands. Okay, I'm gonna take it. Last time, apply more flour, a little more flour to the machine. Okay. Fold again. And roll it again. Pulling with your other hand until it comes out smooth. Now it doesn't have to be super thin. Just kind of want to get it to a point where you can really, you know, feel comfortable with it. It's relaxed. Okay, so from here, I'm actually gonna cut. This is just a plastic bench scraper. I'm gonna cut it, file the back. I'm gonna reserve this piece right there. We're just gonna work with this piece. So more flour. Okay, feeding. And halfway, we're gonna switch. Change the setting. I'm gonna make it a little thin. Okay? Move forward. More flour. Flour in. Dominant hand. Feed it through. Midway, switch hands, okay? And that's about how thin we want our noodles. So from here, a little bit more flour. I'm gonna cut the excess. Cut the excess. Going straight onto my board. A bit more flour, we're good. So we're gonna repeat the same process. Actually put this right here. The same process with our green pasta. Now that we've rolled out our pasta, I've actually included like a green pasta, which you all can see here. So I took spinach and reduced it into a chlorophyll. So what does that mean? A chlorophyll is the pigmentation from the actual vegetable. So I included a little bit of water, blended that up with spinach, zipped it up, you know, in the blender, and then heated it up, boiled out the water, separating the water from the pigment, strain it again, and then that's how you get a pigment. It's like a very, you know, kind of like a paste almost from the spinach. Now we're working with maltagliati, so that's a badly cut. In Italian means badly cut. So if you actually see, you know, the kind of resembled lasagna noodles. So that's where the cut comes from. So literally, you know, you can't really mess up on this. So we're gonna focus on one cut first. She's gonna put this to the side. We'll focus on one cut. So, and just irregular cuts, you know, like just go any which way. They don't have to be perfect. They're not meant to be perfect. This is, you know, just a traditional Italian dish. And then we'll take our scraper here. Some can be big, some can be long, some can be, you know, short, stout, regardless. And we'll do the same process with our green pasta, which just has the spinach chlorophyll. Just cut it anyway. You know, guys, again, you guys can't, I mean, you can't mess up. You know, that's really the fun part about it. You know, it's just in a regular shaped pasta. Again, we'll break it up, divide it a little bit. Now this dish I made when I was in the Tutto Toscana program at the James Beard House in New York City. So it's going with a pecorino fondue or a cacio e pepe. So that means cheese and pepper in Italian. Now that we have cut all our pasta and we're ready to go, it's time to create our dish, which is the maltagliati cacio e pepe, which means cheese and pepper. So our ingredients that we're going to be using are pecorino cheese, which is an aged cheese, a hard cheese, often found in Lazio or Sardinia in Italy. It comes from sheep. So we're going to use this. This has been aged for 7 months. So it's got a really sharp flavor. The more you age or mature your cheese, the sharper the flavor is going to be. Heavy cream for the fondue. A little bit of sage leaves, we'll tear those. Cracked black pepper. We're gonna go garlic and a little bit of shallots. The first thing we're gonna do is start our fondue. So we'll bring our saute pan over medium-high heat. While that's progressing, we're going to crack this. These have been 80% cracked, our black peppercorns. So I'm gonna take a pretty, you know, saucepan, just give them a crack. The reason we're doing this is that we're opening up the flavor. Now, pepper is a spice, especially black pepper. They come in different varietals: white, pink, green, black. These black peppers more commonly found in Southwest India, and it made its way over to Italy throughout different trade routes that occurred centuries ago. So again, we just want to break it down ever so slightly. Okay, take them out of our bag, transfer them, and then you'll tell too when you break them how fragrant they are. That's only because once you break down that exterior shell of the pepper, you're releasing all that flavor. All right, so we have a boiling pot of water. We're gonna add our sea salt right in. Now you want your pasta water to resemble the sea, so taste salty. We're gonna go straight in with our pasta. Okay. Move it around. Now these are gonna cook, fairly quickly. Again, it's fresh pasta, so I'm gonna finish it in the fondue. Now with the fondue, we'll take our extra virgin olive oil in the pan. Okay. Introduce some garlic right in. We'll also add some cracked shallots, diced shallots. We're gonna build our flavor from the bottom up. Wonderful. Now, cacio e pepe is a great combination in Italian cuisine. So the use of Italian cuisine is actually very, very prominent. So therefore, now the cream, actually the fondue is not widely accepted in Italian cuisine. If you travel to Italy, you may not see all the favorite cream dishes, especially pasta dishes that you see in America. Your shrimp Alfredo, things such as that. Reason is because in the 1960s, leading into the 1970s, there's a huge controversy over the uses of cream and the uses of cheese and dairy, especially in Tuscany, because during that period there was a socio-economic period that occurred that allowed different classes to receive different varieties of food, such as higher priced meats. So they're kind of splurging in that sense. So we have our pasta, looks to be about done, almost. Let's see, it's firmed up very nicely. Actually cooked quicker than I thought, which is tremendous. Okay, beautiful. Saute on our garlic. We're gonna add in our heavy cream. Right in. Wonderful. Now we're not gonna add in our pecorino cheese quite yet. We want the heavy cream to come up to a boil. Now the garlic is a little bit, over sauteed, which is kind of how I like it. I prefer, just so that garlic flavor comes out and it complements the pasta very well. So now we're gonna take our pasta out. Okay. Out of the water. Okay, again, this is only 90% done. Okay, we'll leave that right there. Add a little bit of olive oil so the pasta doesn't stick. It's gonna help out tremendously. So we keep the pasta water. I use it as a thickener. Also, is that pasta flavor really helps out as well. So our heavy cream is almost up to a boil. Looks like it's about to hit a rolling boil, which is good. So now we're gonna take our pecorino cheese and introduce it to the pan right in. So I'm only gonna use half. I shredded it so it'll melt quicker. Okay, that's about half, perfect. And we're not gonna add our black pepper just yet. We're gonna wait until that cheese is melted and then well incorporated within the heavy cream. Okay. Now this dish, again, I had the honor of making at the James Beard House in the Tutu Toscana program. It's one of my favorite dishes. It's actually my mother's favorite dish. So I'm sure she'll be very glad that I made this. So, but with, Italian dishes, again, pasta is such a versatile dish. 200 different cuts. You can add an assortment of vegetables, incorporate different sauces, pestos, plain marinara sauces. As the American standard, we've incorporated cream sauces. But because of its versatility, it makes it such a great dish. It's wholesome. You can feed a lot of people. And it really just transpires, that Italian culture by, using limited ingredients, but still high quality ingredients. Really exemplifying, you know, what the culture, what the cuisine is over there in Italy. So wonderful. Our cheese is well incorporated now. We're going to turn off our heat. That cheese is completely done. Tremendous flavor. We're going to add in our cracked black peppercorns now. Okay. And these are just semi-whole. Just cracked them just to release that flavor. I didn't incorporate salt into this mixture. Reason being is that pecorino is very high in salt content already, so I don't want to overpower the dish by incorporating too much salt. Okay. Now we're going to add our torn sage leaves. Now just add a freshness to the pasta dish. You know, this is really just going to incorporate very well with the pasta. Adding just torn, again, rustic. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, we're just releasing that flavor within the pasta. Add a little bit more sage. Sage is one of my favorite herbs. And you'll see that a lot in pasta dishes as well. They utilize a lot of different herbs in their dishes. One, fondue, perfectly ready. Take our pasta. Now, give it a quick stir. Release the pasta. Straight into the pan. And we're just going to incorporate all the pasta, and that fondue is going to finish the noodles and make a tremendous dish. Now we let this sit by itself, don't touch it, once the noodles are well incorporated for about 30 seconds, just so it can absorb all the flavor. And then we'll finish topping it with a nice nice tablespoon of the cracked black pepper to finish the cacio e pepe. So now we finished the cacio e pepe aspect. We're going to plate our dish. So again, using a rustic right into the bowl. Doesn't have to be fancy. This is a badly cut pasta with a rustic creamy sauce, an old school sauce. And we're going to finish a little bit with the cracked black pepper for finish. And that is our final dish. Now it's very important that we use the cracked black pepper in our dish, again, because it's a cheese pepper sauce. Now 70% of the world at one time utilized pepper. You know, it was an extremely valuable resource in a lot of different cuisines, and that has evolved into the mainstay for different cuisines around the world. So, and that is cacio e pepe in a nutshell. It is a great dish. It utilizes, you know, the difference of pasta, the old school rustic of the cheese in the Tuscan region, and it really brings together the cultural heritage of what it means, you know, to be an Italian and to be in that gastronomy. Now for our final presentation of the Italian menu, we're working on the secondi, which is a chicken cacciatore, which is a old school dish that was used, that was developed sometime in between the 1950s and 1960s, utilizing just chicken, crushed tomatoes, red onion, rosemary, sage, tomato paste, pancetta or bacon, bay leaf, red wine for deglazing, which means to lift up the bottom bits after we sear our chicken, chicken stock, garlic and shallot, and then we're using the dark meat, our legs and our thighs from the chicken. Now this is a humbling dish. It's a home dish used for, you won't really see this on menus just because it's kind of like a family meal period, where they're using, all types of ingredients, to kind of come up with a dish that's going to feed the entire family. So let's get started. So we're going to add in our olive oil, extra virgin. We're going to sear our chicken first. Now I didn't salt or pepper the chicken. I will explain why shortly. We're just going to sear. We're going to start with our thighs first. Now some people display opposition towards this dish because they say the chicken is dry. The reason that most people, or most chefs, actually will cook the chicken and the chicken thighs and the legs together, or sear them together, which is not how you're supposed to do that, and that's how you get dry chicken. So this again, chicken cacciatore, utilizing an assortment of different dishes. You know, tomatoes, of course, red onion, very fresh ingredients, very fragrant ingredients. So while the chicken is cooking, on our larger saute pan, I'm gonna go ahead and render the pancetta. Pancetta is a cured bacon or cured pork fat. Very high in flavor. So on low heat, we're just gonna get that started and get it rendered, releasing all that flavor. So we're also going to introduce our red onion. Oh, lost one, okay. I add it right back in the pan. Okay, now with searing, you want to use a very high heat pan, you know, and once it touches the pan, don't touch it. The protein will talk to you, meaning that you'll see on the sides it's ready to release. If I were to release that when it wasn't ready, that means I could damage the skin and lose a lot of flavor. And that's not what I'm trying to do. So we're gonna saute, you know, really just releasing the moisture from the onion and the pancetta. I want those to come around. We're gonna add in our bay leaf, another fresh, fragrant herb that's gonna complement the flavors of the cacciatore and the chicken very well. So with chicken, it's a lean protein, which means it doesn't really have a lot of flavor, so it needs a lot of help. So we're introducing acidity into the dish from the tomato, but also freshness. Now, tomato, the fruit, with that being said, it absorbs a lot of different aromas. So when you cut into a tomato, and actually I will, this tomato here, you know, you can feel that it's ripe, that it's, you know, fresh, it's fragrant. If you cut into it, you can, you know, smell it. You can smell the farm. You can smell the grass. This is what Tuscany is all about. Using the fresh and high quality ingredients this is what Italy is all about. Using high quality ingredients within their food. You know, some chefs actually get scared or they're intimidated to use different ingredients because they don't want to mess up. Okay? So we've got a beautiful sear on our chicken thigh. To turn over. Now don't be afraid of the high heat, the smoke. That means you're doing it quite well. You know, searing is a high heat cooking process. It needs a lot of smoke. You know, you might even smoke out your house, your neighbor's house. That's okay. So don't even worry about that. So let's check and see how our pancetta is doing. Oh, it's coming around beautifully. So we're gonna increase the heat just a little bit, just so that pancetta can render. Okay. Now with our chicken thighs, we'll go ahead and take them off. Now these are not cooked completely. We just want that nice skin. Ooh. Okay. Let's add our legs. Give me 1 second. Get a glove on. And you see how smoky it is. That's perfectly acceptable. And then we'll add it right back into the pan and give it a nice sear. I said, you know, you won't see this dish in restaurants. It's a family, it's a home, you know, home cooked meal. It's a feel good meal. You know, this is something that, you know, you come down from a long day at work, or, you know, the farmers back in that time when they came home from work, they just wanted, you know, a wholesome meal. This is what they would eat with their family. Okay. Now our pancetta is looking very good. Our onions are almost there. We're gonna add another layer of flavor by adding our tomato paste. Now tomato paste is just stewed tomatoes ground up into a paste form. This is adding acidity and sweetness within the cacciatore. Okay. See, our legs are searing very nicely. Perfect. Let's go ahead and mix our tomato paste around. Now tomato, you know, it has a umami flavor, which is, you know, savory flavor. The riper the tomato, the better, in taste. It's going to be a lot sweeter. The high acidity comes from being on the vine. So if you pick a tomato right from the vine, you're looking, at a fairly good amount of acidity within that tomato. And certain dishes actually call for that. Whether you're making a pasta sauce or you're breaking down for a cacciatore dish like this, you want to use the right tomato. Okay, our chicken looks good. Go ahead and give it a toss. Beautiful sear. Sear on both sides. Wonderful. And we're just going to let this sear about another minute. Now that we have a nice sear on both sides, we'll take it off. Okay. Lower our heat just a little bit. And then we're going to build our flavor, starting with our minced garlic. Right in. Diced shallot. Okay. Let's go ahead and mix those two around. Now we're getting incredible flavor from that chicken reacting with the garlic and the shallot in the pan. We're going to deglaze using red wine. Again, deglaze meaning a high acid, releasing all that juice, those high flavors from the chicken. And really just getting the bits from the chicken. So now we're going to reduce, meaning taking that liquid volume into a thicker state, which you can see you want to cook out all the alcohol, otherwise your dish is going to taste like the red wine. See how our pancetta and our onion are doing? Oh, lost a couple of bay leaves. Beautiful. The flavor and the smell tastes tremendous. Smells tremendous. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add our wine and garlic. Turn up our heat a little bit. And add our crushed tomatoes into the mixture. All right. And now it's really just about stewing down those tomatoes, breaking down that fibrous texture, releasing the sweetness and the juiciness of the tomatoes. Reacting with the wine, we'll introduce some chicken stock. Okay. And we'll bring that up to about, in between a simmer and a boil. Add in our sage, rosemary. Now we're going to salt our chicken. The reason I'm salting my chicken now, because of the flavor, it's going to extract that flavor and introduce that flavor into the sauce. If we salted it before, that flavor would still be left in the pan and it wouldn't get as much as the flavor into the actual sauce that we're trying to create right here. So a little bit of sea salt right on top. Perfect. And we'll gently lay, again, these are not fully cooked, just seared. Lay our chicken breasts, our chicken legs, and then our chicken thighs into the sauce. And we'll give them a nice cover of all that flavor, allowing that flavor to just soak into that chicken, tenderize the chicken, and just cook it. Now we leave it uncovered. If we covered it, that will increase the precipitation within the pan, and we'll actually be sweating out the chicken. The skin won't be very crispy. The sauce will be over absorbed, and that's not what we're looking to do. Now that the chicken has cooked for about 15 to 20 minutes, it's time to plate and serve. So the chicken has just reabsorbed the flavors of the tomato beautifully. So we're going to take out the chicken first. Okay, getting the thigh, the legs, all the pieces of chicken. It smells tremendous. Again, now this is, you know, one of those dishes, doesn't have to look pretty. It's not meant to look pretty. Just a home good meal. So put our chicken in bowl first, kind of, again, doesn't have to be pretty. Just do it in assortments. Thigh, leg, and thigh, right in the middle of our bowl. Okay. And we'll take that sauce, and now we'll take our ladle and get the wonderful flavors from the pancetta, tomato, onion, all those herbs, and just right on. Again, now this is one of those home meals you cook for the entire family, finished with a little bit of grated Parmesan Reggiano, and perfect. That is how you make a classic chicken cacciatore. Again, you can feed it for your entire family. It's one of those old dishes that have been along for a long time. You won't see it in restaurants just because of the plating ability, but it's, you know, a very, very classical dish and very hearty dish. I would like to thank the American Culinary Federation for the opportunity to present to you all today the flavors and culture of Italian cuisine. It is a great cuisine and needs to be shared with everyone. Please remember that seasonality, simplicity, and quality of ingredients are the golden standards to create a great Italian cuisine. Thank you again. I hope to hear from you all soon. Pick up a copy of my new cookbook entitled A Few of My Favorites and other exciting Beyond the Plate merchandise that are available for purchase on my website at chefashten.com.